All right, welcome in. It is the Johnston RV Center Saturday preview along with Lance Taylor, Jim Dunaway. I'm Ryan Brown. Show also presented by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. We are into week 2 of college football. Some pretty big games here in the early window. Biggest game in the country today in the early window on that Fox Big Noon kickoff. Boys, how are you? Dunaway, you good?
I'm fantastic. Little T wasn't with us this week. She's at a bachelorette party down at the beach. So I threw on a beach shirt thinking about our missing comrade who's down at the beach enjoying the last bit of summer. But the weather feels great today. I'm ready for some big-time football. We have a couple, not just one, a couple of big games in every window, including the SEC late night in Oregon. I think it's going to be a wonderful Saturday for the TV, and we get Saban Field over in Tuscaloosa. EG is at that one. I'm all fired up.
Yeah, not a bad day. There are some good games. I wouldn't say it's one of those Saturdays where you're like, oh, wow. But again, going week 1 to week 2, I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen. I mean, if a couple of things, like if Texas was to lose in one of those big games against Michigan, what does that really say about the Texas season this early? And on the other side, if Michigan was to win that game, I mean, how massive would that be for Sherrone Moore? I know nobody is giving Michigan a chance.
Nobody.
That's an interesting angle to look at. And then if Arkansas is able to go into Stillwater, I think Oklahoma State is a top 15 team. I think they're that good. I just really don't know much about Arkansas. I don't believe Arkansas is going to be really good. I think their offense is going to be explosive at times under Bobby Petrino and Taylor Green, but I don't have a lot of confidence that Arkansas can actually win that game. But if they do, watch out.
Hey, let me tell you, Nick Saban early on in College Game Day over on ESPN was talking up Arkansas and Taylor at quarterback and the potential they have today of maybe surprising some people in Stillwater. And if it happens, it'll be because of Taylor Green and maybe one of the best play callers still in college football in Bobby Petrino. That's an interesting statement game for the SEC. Last week you had Vandy lower tier beating ACC contender Virginia Tech. If you got another lower tier SEC team knocking off a Big 12 contender, it'd be another banner day for the SEC.
We're going to get to this game more in depth later, but there are too many people talking about it to ignore it right off the top here. Landmine Believer, the first one to mention it, that this Auburn line has dropped significantly. This morning at MyBookie.ag, I saw it at 10. He's saying it's 10.5 now. This has been as high as 13.5. Now, Lance, I know you want to be careful. You got to play on this game at lanceslock.com. What do I read into this line drop? That's a pretty significant line drop this late in the week, is it not?
Yeah, I think it's just money. I think it's probably sharp money coming on Cal. I do have a play at that. This is one of those explosive days for me. I had 11 plays last Saturday. We've got 15 plays today. A lot of plays, but I do have Cal and Auburn as one of my plays. I actually posted this yesterday. So I posted this at 12.5. But yeah, I would just say it's a lot of significant money. And I think it solidifies that Jaden Ott, a really good running back, a lot of people don't know about because he plays at Cal, is going to play. He, turned his ankle in the third quarter of that UC Davis win last week. But Ott is ready to go, and I think there's just sharp money back in the Bears here.
I'd warn people that Justin Wilcox, and we sent out that little clip earlier today before the show promoting this show, he has a history of being evasive on players who are probable, doubtful, and he's one of those guys that likes to play the game, leaking out that a certain player won't play or will play, and then you get to the game, and it's just the opposite of what he's been saying all week long. He has a reputation of not giving you a 100% clear picture of who's available and not available. I'm not saying Ott's not playing or playing. I really don't think it's going to matter whether he plays or doesn't play, LT. Unless this injury is Peyton Thorne. If there's an injury to Peyton Thorne, then that's different. Anyone else, this is, and I'm not playing landmine games here. This Auburn team, this is the breakout game for them.
How do you just figure? I mean, look, I know there's more talent when you're talking about these wide receivers. I have just never seen Peyton Thorne be a consistent quarterback. I've never seen it.
The guy hits people in the open in the hands wide open, and they drop balls. They even did it a little bit last week. He's a better quarterback than he gets credit for.
He's not even the best quarterback in this game.
Yeah, you keep saying that. I mean, this Cal team, did y'all see who left in the offseason? They got these few skill players back, but once Cal was kicked out of the Pac-12, they lost some folks. I don't think this is the same Cal. I mean, I do not. I don't see what everybody else is.
Dude, put your mortgage on it. I mean, MyBookie.ag, I don't think they're scared.
I think you get as low as 10 right now, Jim, at
You can
MyBookie.ag.
get as much on it as you want too.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable at 13.5. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I got bookmakers all over this town, so you just let me know what you want, and you tell me when you're scared. And I can unload it all over the place.
I've got MyBookie.ag. I got a little password over there. I'm using it fine. And
here's what I would do. Let's just
I'm on
say
Auburn. Yes.
You know, whatever that number is, I would spread it out amongst my guys, and then I would probably hold a significant amount, knowing that you're this confident in this game and the way it's going. Trust me, Las Vegas has been doing this a long time.
Yeah, they get them wrong too, though. Now let's don't pretend like Las Vegas doesn't get them wrong. Last night, BYU and SMU. Boy, am I disappointed in the Ponies, boys. I thought SMU would be a much better team.
Well, you know, I ended up going 2-1 at Lance's lock. I had the Eagles last night, easy winner. Had the Mariners, easy winner, and then we had SMU. And now, double-digit favorites have lost 4 games outright, and I've been on 3 of those. Florida State twice, and now SMU. Look, the quarterback situation. Here's the problem: their offensive line is awful. I can't believe how bad it is. And Preston Stone has no shot. He's not athletic enough to actually move around in the pocket. So basically, when Preston Stone's in there, he's under duress the entire time, can't even set his feet. Then you bring Kevin Jennings in, who's an athletic guy, but, you know, he's one of those guys that can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He's just not an accurate guy. So, you know, pick your poison. And SMU's offense, the red zone offense was awful. I mean, settled for field goal after field goal after field goal, and it ultimately got them beat. Give Kalani Sitake a lot of credit. Down year last year at BYU, but they're sitting at 2-0. Big win on the road last night in Dallas.
Sometimes they didn't settle for field goals. At one point, they had been to the red zone 5 times, and they had 2 field goals. A couple of the field goals were 50-plus yarders. That kid was in the Groza Award zone last night. I am so disappointed with the way that SMU team looks, and they haven't even gotten to the what I think is a good part of their schedule yet. So they yin-yanging the quarterbacks. I mean, I'm sure last night made his decision. He's got to go with the guy he was with at the end, because Stone, I think his 2 drives were -9 yards and punts when he was in there. So if it's been a quarterback competition, we know who the winner is. I've seen a lot of SMU football this year, and it's been pretty blah so far.
Also, Duke beat Northwestern double overtime 26-20. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that one. Close game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game. I mean, a couple of smart schools get together. It went down to the wire, and it was fun to watch. So B. Rich is asking me the LT 3-team teaser of the week. I'm going to throw this out for Dunaway and just see what and I'm doing this on the fly.
Okay.
Dunaway, you tell me if this is appealing.
Okay, again, remind me what a teaser is.
If it's you know what it is. 2 teams, 6 points. 3 teams, 10 points.
So
I
can do 10 points.
Okay. Let's go Texas plus 2.5. Let's go Auburn -0.5, and let's go Tennessee -0.5. How do you feel about that? Basically, all you got to do is have Texas, Auburn, and Tennessee win the games.
Texas, Auburn, and Tennessee?
Yep.
Oh, they're all 3 winning the game. I don't even need the points. I mean, what the hell are we doing here?
Well,
how does Vegas offer these?
MyBookie.ag is not going to back down from that. Whatever you want on it.
I mean, you're telling me you think one of these 3 teams loses today? Texas, Auburn, and Tennessee.
B. Rich asked for a 3-team tease of the week. I knew that would be really appealing in your wheelhouse, and I think most of our guys watching and listening are like, "Damn, all I got to do is have Texas win."
Yep.
Auburn win at home, and Tennessee beat NC State, who trailed Western Carolina in the 4th quarter. That's all I've got to have happen.
How many points am I getting with Texas?
You'd be catching 2.5. I mean, basically, you just got to have them win the game.
Catching 2.5. Just got to win the game. Where can I play that? MyBookie.ag Code NextRound.
Absolutely.
I'm all over that.
Hey,
when are we done? I'm going right over there.
I had not thought about talking about this game, but we like to serve the people here. Brandon asked what you think of UTSA and Texas State. Forgive me, Lance, if you got to play on that at Lance's lock.
I do, and I love this game, and it is really. I mean, so Texas State is one of these teams. When you look at the schedule, after winning 8 games last year, they're one of those sneaky teams that people believe could be the Group 5 representative. UTSA, obviously, you know, last year that was the team that I thought would represent the Group 5, and they just Frank Harris gets hurt early. They ended up winning 9 games. But I think this is going to be a fantastic game. And I actually have, just to clarify, got a 5-star play on this. But yes, I do have a side on this.
Yeah. And my gut tells me UTSA, but, I don't know anything. So go check out lanceslock.com for the real play.
All right, let's get to the big games. Michigan and Texas. They're at the Big House. The Horns open the day at MyBookie.ag. Code NextRound, a 7-point favorite. Michigan and 41.5 is the total there at the Big House. So Dunaway, they think it's a low-scoring game, but they think Texas can win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I do think Texas can win by the touchdown. In fact, Maggie, fire up the boat. It's Texas motorboating them today. It becomes double digits. It's going to be a convincing Texas win today at Michigan. You're going to get the play calling of Steve Sarkisian. They're not going to be able to keep up with his design plays. He skipped right over their first game. He's been skilling this just like he did Alabama all off season. They all come in prepared, focused, and this is a hook 'em day in the Big House. And they now go 2-0 all time against Michigan. Give me Texas. Give away the points. I'd go as high as 13.5 on this one too if I was giving the points.
Wow, will you give me 13.5?
For a steak, I would. Yes, I would give you 13.5 for a steak.
Yeah, I'll take it right now.
Okay,
I did not play this game for the record. It's an 11 o'clock game, but I will take the 13.5 for a steak. I will say a couple of things that will back you up, and you'll like this. This is the largest home underdog Michigan has been since 2019. When they were catching 9. I see that. Is that Lunch for doing that?
That's Lunch for doing that. That is well done, Lunch.
What did he do? I missed it. I was looking down. What did he do?
We were flashing the lights for a statement.
Largest home underdog since 2019 in the Big House, where they were catching 9 and they lost the game by 29 to Michigan. They've only closed as 7+ point dogs 5 times since 2000. And guess what they are straight up?
5-0?
0-5.
0-5. Uh-oh.
So Michigan hasn't been great in this spot. I'm interested to see, I still believe Michigan's got an elite defense. I mean, you say what you want. They held Fresno to 9 rushing yards. They had the pick 6. I still think this is an elite defense. I really want to know how good this Texas defense is. And I really want to know if Alex Orji is going to get the reps I believe he's going to get that he was kind of hidden last week against Fresno State.
Lance, you've touched on this game, another 11 o'clock game, so nothing at lanceslog.com. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. The Pokes this morning at MyBookie.ag, a 10-point favorite, total of 61.5. So 41.5 at the Big House, 61.5 in Stillwater. This looks like a track meet here.
Yeah, look, Arkansas was great against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Bobby Petrino was doing Bobby Petrino things. Taylon Green just unleashing this kid, and he is super quick. When you watch him, when he gets in space, the guy is gone. 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers. Their defense played great, only giving up 130 yards. Again, we don't really have a gauge because it's Arkansas Pine Bluff. On the other side, Oklahoma State, I think they're really, really good, especially if Alan Bowman can stay healthy. I think Ollie Gordon will have a field day against this Arkansas defense. If I was to play this, I would play the favorite and over. I lean more over the 62.5 because I think Bobby Petrino will put them in spots where they can actually score some points. That was a problem last week. We backed South Dakota State, and we had the Jackrabbits plus 9.5. They got down early. They lost the game by 24, but they were only outgained by 6 yards. They just couldn't, between the 20s, they were great, but once they got into the red zone, South Dakota State could do nothing.
Yeah, I like Oklahoma State in this game. I just think it's very interesting if Arkansas keeps this close or pulls the upset. I enjoy watching that one coming up. And I'm again back to the play calling, which is why I like Sark and Texas. I like Bobby Petrino's play calling in this game. Veteran bunch of Oklahoma State, 20 starters returning. But Arkansas keeps this one close and entertaining in my book, and that'll be a big morning session. Back to Texas, Michigan.
Hey, if you were to tell me real quick that Sarkisian right now on game day was the concierge for the mobbed out family in Dallas or Houston, I would believe it. That's a pathetic 26-14. Who goes 26-14 at Texas? And I mean that's
everybody does.
Yeah,
apparently.
Pretty much everybody. That's what's weird about Texas. Yeah,
but you're right. His outfit. I saw him when he got on the bus. Very beginning of game day today. He's now walking and talking to the guys on game day. And his outfit looks like I have landed in Vegas.
This will make
the
my
guy
day.
This is the guy that's showing us to the VIP area of the casino.
This has nothing to do with the state, but this will make my day if Texas can lose this game.
Well, for those just joining us, I have upped the ante. What was it? The real people are playing at what? 7?
7.
I've almost doubled that. I've given LT 13.5 points because I believe in Texas that much today. And the reason why is the running backs, to be honest with you. That was the two guys who've come in and replaced the two guys that got hurt. I like the way they looked last week, and I think they're going to have a very good day running the football when you get Blue and Gibson out there running against a very tough Michigan. Just enough run game. They won't have big numbers, but just enough run game to open it up for Quinn Ewers. He doesn't need backup. He'll do it today at the big house.
And by the way, the best running back on the field is Donovan Edwards. He was underutilized last week. I really think that Michigan was kind of sandbagging against Fresno State with Orji and with Donovan Edwards. I like Jaden Blue. I think he's really good. I think the lack of depth at the running back position is something that could get Texas in trouble today.
Yeah, I do agree with you on Donovan Edwards. He goes over whatever that number ends up being today. You said it'd be about 73.5. I have not checked that rushing total at MyBookie.ag.
I think Lunsford checked it for me yesterday. It was in the 40s. So to me, that's like
money.
It's
Free
almost
money.
like getting Michigan at 13.5. It's stealing money.
Yeah.
Another game featuring a Big 12 team this time that I like to win the conference. Kansas State is at Tulane, 11 o'clock ESPN game straight out of game day here. Kansas State favored 8.5, total of 47. Dunaway, they just showed before we started the live shot of the team arriving, and you know what was happening? Rain was falling. This could be a weather game here.
I don't think that'll matter. The weather's not always perfect there in Manhattan either. Listen, Kansas State.
It's in New Orleans, by the way.
Oh, is it in the Dome?
It is. No, it's at Ullman.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They're used to it in Manhattan. The weather's bad. It's not always perfect in Manhattan. I knew it was in New Orleans. I thought you were saying it's in the Dome. Avery Johnson's good. I think Tulane's being propped up by what they've done the last couple of years. Love Coach Summerall. I don't think his team will be ready for what they get today from Kansas State. Best quarterback in the game, wearing the purple and silver.
Well, I agree with that. I think Avery Johnson could have a breakout game. You know, they were a little lackluster last week. I do think Tulane is better than advertised. I think Tulane's got a legitimate defense. I think Tulane will keep this around the number. This thing's going to go off right at 9.5 Kansas State. I think Kansas State wins the game. This is another one, Dunaway. That three-team tees, you could have Kansas State at a pick.
Ooh, love that one too. Can I do
make it a 4-team?
Can I do a 4-teamer? How much points do I get with that one?
4-teamer, I think you can get 12 points on a 4-teamer. A lot of people play 14 teases.
Oh man,
I'll tell you the 3-team tees. A lot of bookmakers, and this has stopped recently. You can't buy the hook on the 3 in the NFL, and a lot of bookmakers won't take the 10-point 3-team tees. Because I'll tell you, man, a lot of times in the NFL, about 65%, it will hit both ways. So 3-team teasers in the NFL, pretty easy way to make money.
Well, right now I'm stacking my money line parlay right now. I'm going Texas, Auburn, Tennessee, Kansas State. I'm just stacking my parlay. I may be at a 10-team parlay before this show's over with. Has there been anybody else I've loved so far on the show?
Well, not yet. We're only 3 games in, though. Hang on.
We're 3 games in. And I've got four locks.
I don't know how that has happened. Georgia Tech is at Syracuse, also in the early window ACC Network game. The Ramblin' Wreck, a 3-point favorite on the road in the Dome. 61.5 is the total here, Lance. Georgia Tech 2-0, but this is a tough test for them at the Cuse.
Yeah, it really is. And 2 really good under-the-radar quarterbacks in Haynes King, a guy that had 37 total touchdowns last year for the Ramblin' Wreck, and then Kyle McCord coming over, transferring in for Fran Brown from Ohio State. And Kyle McCord, man, some of the balls he threw last week against Ohio, I was really impressed. Aronde Gadsden Jr., really good 2 years ago, kind of that in between wide receiver, tight end, had a nice game against Ohio, and I think he's going to be a major weapon in this game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I completely stayed away from it, not only because it's 11 o'clock, but I've gone back and forth on this game. Like, I really liked Syracuse earlier in the week. Now I kind of lean Georgia Tech. I just think it's going to be one of those games that probably goes down to the wire, and this thing's going to go off at Tech -3, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Georgia Tech wins by 3.
Yeah, so you probably backed off because I've been so heavy on Syracuse all week. It was my sneaky good game, and in the sneaky good game, I thought Georgia Tech would win it because of Fran Brown, and Kyle McCord has looked good. And our pick 3 yesterday, which you can still play until 11 Central. You can go to nextroundlive.com, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. and play the pick 3. It was my first game on the pick 3. Syracuse getting points in the Dome against the rat poison Georgia Tech team that hasn't been ranked since 2015. I like Syracuse in this one, getting the points.
All right, JohnstonRVCenter.com is who brings us this show. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. That's where you find Johnston RV Center. And you can get great deals right now. How about Cherokee travel trailers as low as $145 a month? Fifth wheels as low as $373 a month. Tons of units marked down on clearance. You step outside today, you feel a little fall in the air in Alabama. Enjoy that fall air in an RV from Johnston RV Center, seeing the South, seeing America, seeing football campuses everywhere. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, JohnstonRVCenter.com. And also our boys at Champy's Chicken today, Dunaway. Great tailgate idea.
Champy's Chicken, if you're heading down to Jordan Hare, leaving in just a second to make it for the 2:30 kick, get that tailgate food right there, easy off I-65 as you go through Alabaster. The Highway 31 Alabaster exit is about a mile right off, just boom, boom, and you're right there with you call ahead, champyschicken.com. Sterling will have it ready to go. Easy for you guys heading to Saban Field tonight, 6 o'clock ESPN for USF and Alabama. Pick that up. Southern Fried Chicken, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's champyschicken.com.
All right, that gets us to the 2:30 window, ESPN2 Cal Auburn. We talked a little bit about this a moment ago. Lance has a play on this one at lanceslock.com. Cal and Auburn in Jordan Hare. Auburn, depending on where you look, MyBookie.ag this morning had it at 10.5. Some have said they've seen it as low as 10. That number is down a little bit. A total of 54 if you want to play it at MyBookie.ag. Use code NextRound. They double your initial deposit. Great way to start out week number 2 in college football with double your deposit. Free money to play with right away. MyBookie.ag, code NextRound. Lance, you got to play at lanceslock.com. So I'll just ask you, what are you looking for early in this game to see which team has the advantage there?
Well, I think Cal with Jaden Ott is going to really try to slow this down. It was aesthetically just a disgusting game last year where we had all the turnovers, 14-10. Auburn was able to escape with the win. But Francisco Mendoza is a guy. So your starting quarterback last year is now playing for Auburn.
And living with Peyton Thorne.
There is such an upgraded. By the way, Auburn still has the same starting quarterback. There is a major upgrade with Francisco Mendoza at quarterback. That's all I'll say. I cannot believe Dunaway thinks this game's this easy. Like Justin Wilcox is going to be scared by all of these 5-star true freshman wide receivers.
My God, LT, how many times? I mean, it's Jordan Hare Stadium. I saw the Georgia Bulldogs with a bazillion 5-stars go in there last year against a lesser Auburn team and barely survive. I saw an Alabama team with
I saw
bazillion
New Mexico
5-stars.
State Aggies with no stars run in there and whip the dick out of Auburn last year.
Yeah, 2:30. This crowd is hungry. It's Jordan Hare Stadium. And by the way, you keep going back to Peyton Thorne last year. You can't judge Peyton Thorne by last year. That'd be like asking.
That'd be like the year before. The only time Peyton Thorne has ever been good is when he had Kenneth Walker at running back. That's the only time.
Well, he's got Jarquez Hunter, who's all SEC. He's the first team all SEC running back. He's got a great receiving core. You're judging him. You're judging him like last year. It's like judging Delta by using Wright Brothers technology. You can't do that.
Hey, by the way, your Texas has fallen to 6.5. I think Texas might lose this game.
Back to Texas, Michigan now. Yeah. So you think the line's dropping here late, Lance? That means
right now, which tells me that you've got guys in Las Vegas that make a living doing this, that have been sitting there waiting for this number to get inflated and making sure it was a steady 7.5, and then they have pounced.
Yep. All right. You can pounce as well. MyBookie.ag, code NextRound when you pounce to double your initial sign-on bonus. Dunaway, South Carolina.
I'm going to be Can I just tell you, I'm going to be editing up this whole show to bring it back on Monday.
Sure.
I'm going to just be chopping all day Sunday.
Either way.
Little nuggets. LT may have to get somebody.
Dunaway, South Carolina is at Kentucky. The Cats, this is a 2:30 ABC game. This is what would be the CBS game if CBS still did actual football people watch.
No,
this is I don't know. It's the only conference game. 2:30 ABC. South Carolina, a 9-point dog on the road at Kentucky. A total in this very low, 41.5.
I don't know what to make of this one. I'm going to go Kentucky because they're at home and because I trust Coach Stoops. Vandergriff, was last week, but nothing was more than South Carolina. I don't know what you're getting with Carolina. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I think the best quarterback in this game is Big Blue, and they're at home, so I'll go with Kentucky.
Yeah, I would find it hard to believe. This is another one of those games you can get on this tease at a pick. I mean, Kentucky at home against this shitty South Carolina team, and Lenora Sellers is not good. Was awful last week. They were able to skate by Old Dominion. And I brought this up, I think, yesterday on the show maybe. Old Dominion was -4 in turnovers in Columbia and only lost the game by 4. Now South Carolina goes to Kentucky. I don't know what we should expect from Brock Vandergriff in this Kentucky offense because normally you don't get much. But I think Kentucky's defense is going to be really good. And I don't see Lenora Sellers doing anything against this Kentucky defense. Somebody asked me yesterday if I ever take a look at team totals. This is one. I would take a look at the South Carolina team total under.
South Carolina team. Do you know what it is?
I think it's like 13.5. I think I'll pull it real quick.
You don't think they can get to 2 touchdowns is what you're saying,
no,
basically.
I do not think so.
Another game that will be played at lanceslock.com, he'll share that team total with us when he finds it, is the Cyhawk game. Iowa State at Iowa. That is the 2:30 CBS game. Brad and Gary will be there. Iowa is a 3-point favorite at home. You want to talk about a low total, 35.5 in this one, Lance. I know you got to play, but boy, the wise guy's telling you not a lot of scoring in this one either.
Yeah, look, and I kind of agree with Dunaway. If I played it, I would play the over. We had Furman on from the desert yesterday, and he was talking about people are starting to lock this in like they are lock Army Navy in on the total. Last year it was 32.5. 15 of the last 18 have gone under the total. 35.5, and I agree with what Furman said yesterday. You've got to have more go wrong for you or go right for you to actually get this. I mean, if this thing just plays out, it's hard for teams not to score 17 points in college football. And that's all you've got to get. If you get both teams scoring 17, you've got this over wrapped up.
Yeah, and sometimes, when you're playing unders, the things that can kill you is a turnover and a short field for the other team. You know what I mean? You get those kind of situations, and I think you can get some of that today. I don't know about the weather there, but just the way these two teams are built defensively and sometimes have problems offensively, you could get an Iowa mistake backed up against their end zone and a short field for Iowa State, the Cyclones, to go in there and score, and all of a sudden it can get over 35.5 pretty quickly with some turnovers. That's the way I expect it to happen today. A couple of sloppy turnovers, short field, and you get the over.
So that is on CBS 2:30. Another 2:30 game on main Fox. Baylor is at Utah. Another game, Lance, you have up at lanceslock.com. The Utes at home, a 15-point favorite. 54.5 is the total. Still trying to sort out. I mean, we're trying to sort out the ACC to see if anybody's any good. This will be the first week we get a little bit of a look at the Big 12. Now, here's the odd thing about this. Though this game matches 2 Big 12 teams, this is not a Big 12 game. And I know that seems confusing, but this is a game that was on the schedule before Utah left the Pac-12 and entered the Big 12. So this game will not count in conference standings, but it's still 2 Big 12 teams, Lance. So we'll get a little hint where Utah kind of stands against, I don't know what you'd call Baylor, maybe the middle or lower part of that conference right now.
Yeah, I think it's a big year for Dave Aranda. And DeQuan Finn comes in, former Toledo quarterback, and he's going to be leading the Bears offense. But, I mentioned this yesterday, that Utah under Kyle Whittingham since 2017, 33-0 straight up as a double-digit favorite. So this is a spot I think kind of favors Utah. It's a big number in 15, but Cam Rising really hadn't played significant football in almost 2 years. Goes out. It was against a inferior opponent, but has 5 touchdown passes last weekend, a career high for him. So getting him back settled in. I think this Utah team is going to be really good this year. By the way, South Carolina's team total a little higher than I thought it was, 16.5. I think you're getting a lot of value. I don't see South Carolina scoring 17 points today.
So you go way under that one then.
Yeah, and now I'm contradicting what I just said. It's hard for a college team not to score 17 points. But I've watched Lenora Sellers, and he
Yeah, I agree with that. Baylor, Utah, I mean, Kyle Whittingham is almost the most consistent thing you can get in college football. And I think he's got a good team. He's already got a coach in waiting. They made that announcement. I think he made that announcement knowing that he would have a special year, could win a Big 12 championship, and maybe hang it up like Nick Saban did last year, walking out with at least a conference championship. I like Utah in that game, 2:30 on Fox.
Let's go to the night slate. And we'll start with UAB at ULM. Brian Vincent, the former UAB coach, coaching Monroe in this game. A reminder, it's the JohnstonRVCenter.com preview show. Johnston RV Center, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. They bring you this every week, the Johnston RV Center college football preview. UAB's an 11-point favorite on the road, Dunaway, at ULM. The total is 54.5. ESPN Plus at 6 o'clock tonight. I bring this up not as a way of taking a shot at Brian Vincent, a guy we very much like on this show. He was with us when he was the UAB coach. Really nice guy. I hope he does well there. But some of the people that rated everything 1 to 133 had ULM at 133. It is he takes over one of the worst programs in Division I college football.
And UAB very sloppy last week in their first game, but UAB is going to have more talent than this. I've said this several times already this morning. Best quarterback in the game. Best quarterback in the game is going to be wearing green and gold. I don't think UAB has a problem today on the road. I just think they have more talent. They have more experience. And this will be, I enjoyed Brian Vincent, his time in helping out and rebuilding UAB. This will be a nightmare for him with UAB coming to town. UAB wins this game and covers.
I think UAB will win the game. Again, you could get them -1 on one of these teasers, Dunaway, if you're very interested.
You want to add that one? You want to make that one number 8?
I love me some Bryant Vincent. I just don't trust UAB laying double digits on the road with how undisciplined they are. I don't trust their defense. Always penalties, always turnovers. Jacob Zeno is a very experienced quarterback. UAB is definitely the better team, but there is not a chance in hell I would lay 11 with UAB on the road.
Yeah, hard to see that. I don't know. This is a bad ULM team. I don't know if we know what you have in UAB just yet. All right. Also in the night slate, Colorado, Nebraska, 6:30 NBC game. That is prime time there. Lance, you have a play on this. Lance's lock. Nebraska is a 6.5-point home favorite today there in Lincoln. 55.5 is the total for Coach Prime and the Buffaloes.
Well, if Coach Prime and the Buffaloes are going to stay in this, obviously Shedeur Sanders has got to do Shedeur Sanders things, but they got to run the football, man. 59 yards last week against North Dakota State. I brought this number up yesterday. In 8 games as an underdog as Colorado's coach, Dion is 1-7. The only outright win was week 1 last year against TCU. We know Sanders is great. We know Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr., those guys can play. But can this defense hold up against a true freshman quarterback in Dylan Raiola? Raiola, 19 to 27 last week, a couple of touchdowns. The moment's not going to be too big for him. I'm really excited about this game. The thing I would say, though, is last year we saw 36-14 Colorado winning this game in Boulder. Do you guys believe, and it doesn't necessarily have to play out like this, but now I'm getting, if I'm Colorado, I'm getting 30 points from last year to this year, basically, because I'm catching 6.5 in a game we won by 22 last year. So I think Nebraska's improved offensively. Are they that improved? I think actually Colorado is better than they were last year. I still think Colorado's like a 4-win team, but I think this will be a fascinating game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Using your math there, I've never really thought about it that way, but Colorado is better than they were last year. The only thing I like Nebraska in with a big advantage in this game is just stability of the program. I don't know if any of the information I've been reading about Colorado this week that has come out is true, but there's been reporting done and people are checking into it. I'm waiting for a more reliable source like a Pete Thamel to come out with it, but there's been talk of maybe a fight among players where one player jumped into a fight when it was 5-on-1 and threw a sucker punch of another teammate before they left. And there's been talk of maybe a little coaching fighting as well inside the program at Colorado. Again, I'll wait for the Pete Thamels of the world to come out with a real story on that. But if any of that is true, now you're taking that on the road to go to what?
Did you have like a raven fly from one Game of Thrones kingdom to another and give you this information? Brown, have you heard any of this? I haven't.
I haven't. That is new to me.
Yeah, I will try to find it and send it to you, and you guys tell me how reliable you think it is. But they've been talking about dysfunction in the Colorado program all off season. So, and some former players who have left for that reason. And I just look at what Matt Rule is doing and the stability he's brought to what has been a chaotic problem at Nebraska. Underrated crowd noise there in Lincoln, packed out. Biggest game in how long, do you think, for Nebraska? They had Oklahoma a few years ago. That was insane, and Nebraska overplayed their skis in that game. And I thought part of that was just the energy in the building. I think it'll be like that today. I like Nebraska, but I don't know about covering. I just think it's going to be a great football game.
Well, Nebraska fans are internal optimists, and this is that game that they look at. Hey, if we can survive tonight against Colorado and get the revenge from last year's 36-14 loss, I believe our team will be 7-0 heading to Columbus. We'll be ranked playing Ohio State. And look, and if you're 7-0, it's already a win for Matt Rule. Like if Matt Rule wins this game, it's going to be a successful season, in my opinion.
Yeah. Athlon Sports. Coaches' fisticuffs reveal more of Fight Club culture at Colorado under Deion Sanders from Athlon Sports. Yeah. Buffalo's assistant coach Warren Sapp made light of a fight between a graduate assistant and another staffer who had just resigned, and later in the Athlon story, they talk about video of that now starting to leak out, and also a fight among players where it was 5-on-1 and a receiver who I will not name throwing a sucker punch.
Well, can I just say this? Athlon Sports is like the elves at the North Pole. It takes them a full year to make one magazine. So for Athlon Sports to like break news to me, I'm going to call horse shit until another major media outlet actually breaks this. Because Athlon right now is working on 2025.
They got the basketball book.
It'll hit shelves that nobody will buy in June this coming summer. So
the thing that jumped out to me in that story, Dunaway, is that somebody stepped to Warren Sapp. Boy, I'd have to think long and hard about stepping to Warren Sapp.
No, I think Warren was telling the story of seeing the other two fighting is what the story says at Athlon.
Yeah, I certainly would not step to Warren Sapp. All right, Dunaway, Tennessee, NC State. This game is in Charlotte. The Vols a 9-point favorite, a little higher than it has been through the summer. A total of 60.5, 6:30 ABC for this one.
Yeah, we're going to come back to Alabama in a moment, right, at 6 o'clock. 6:30, Tennessee and NC State. In that contest, I was in love with this game all summer long, in love with NC State all summer long until what happened to Western Carolina and their struggle in that game last night. And then I saw Nico there, and the guy looked fantastic against Air. It won't be Air today. It won't be as easy against NC State. I don't know if the Vols cover, but I do think the Vols win. I like Nico and them going on the road in this contest. And I think today we really get to see the show. You know, this will be, if he looks as good as he looked last week against NC State on the road, I think people will go, all right, this kid is legit. It could be a breakout day for Nico. I think it will be. I'll go Vols.
Yeah, I don't feel as good about Tennessee as you did. I wanted to give out NC State in the spot because I think you're getting value. Like this number would have settled at probably 4.5 or 5 if NC State was completely dominant last week against Western Carolina. Look, I understand they trailed the fourth quarter. That's embarrassing. You know, we've seen teams look ahead, though. I think NC State, Dave Duran felt like with Grace McWhorter, we can go out, we can go through the motions. We can be really vanilla, and we're still going to beat the Catamounts. And they ultimately did. They win the game by 17. If I can find this, and I don't know what his number is, Kevin Concepcion is a receiver that's been in that program for a while, and now he's got a credible quarterback. I still wonder how good this secondary is for Tennessee. So what I was going to say is I don't have a play on this game. I kind of lean over the 61.5 or wherever that number is right now. But Kevin Concepcion, if you can get his total in the 70s, which it probably is, I think that's a nice play.
Yeah, I don't worry as much about the Tennessee secondary because I don't think the quarterback will have time to let them get to the secondary with that defensive edge rushing from the Volunteers, maybe one of the best in the country. That'll be the game for me. Can Grayson McCall have time to do anything? And his speed just hasn't looked like it did a couple of years ago at Coastal Carolina since he came back from the injury. He hasn't been the same quarterback.
Jace, what are we saying here, Brown? Not giving credit to Athlon Sports, but we'll give credit to Clay Travis for saying things like Gruden's going to Tennessee. Brandon Miller should be charged. I think a lot of people said that about Brandon Miller. I think a lot of people said Gruden was building a house. Does Jace have a subscription to Athlon? Does Athlon do anything besides that college publication?
They do basketball. They do the NFL. They have a website with news every day at athlonsports.com. But they're based in Nashville, I believe.
I think so.
I don't know. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
I know Landmine Believer also over in the chat said earlier that if Auburn loses today, Little T will put out a hit on me. She will have me taken out. I don't
don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Auburn will be safe today. And there was one other person in the chat.
Gosh, is this Jimmy Bama? Are you actually doing this for effect?
No, this is my money. This is.
I don't think the pearls.
Give me my money.
You don't have to
give me my money.
By the way, thebarnauburn.com for coverage at the end of that game. Thebarnauburn.com for the post-game show. Also, covercrimson.com for everything in Tuscaloosa. Both those you can start as low as $1. E.g., Emily Grace McWhorter will be in Tuscaloosa today with South Florida at Alabama. The Tide a 31-point favorite. 64.5 is the total. But E.g., a lot of the news in this game will be going on pregame and halftime with the naming of Saban Field. You'll have all of that covered. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I tried to make a cool background like you guys have. So Let me know your thoughts.
Well, first off,
we got Braves.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. We're a horizontal show, not a vertical show, but I
apologize. I wanted to show
go Braves.
More than ugly brown wall, but I'll take that in consideration next time.
Yeah, I got you. So it's going to be Nick Saban already talking about it on game day. A little emotional as some of his former greats said some very nice things about him, and it's going to be that kind of day in Tuscaloosa.
It is to be very emotional. There are some limited edition Yetis available. Dunaway, I was going to ask you if you want me to pick one of them up for you. Just let me know.
You know that the only reason I'm not going to this game is I'm afraid I'll be too emotional in public. Yeah.
Yes. So I will be grabbing one of those for you, Dunaway, and I'm excited. I think that's going to be a really cool opportunity just to see kind of a full circle moment, especially for a lot of people that grew up watching Nick Saban and now, maybe they're a student at Alabama and they get to see this all close out. His family will be there, former players like you guys mentioned, and then of course just fans of this program for so long that have seen it through the ups and the downs, looking at you, Dunaway. So I'm really excited to get a kind of a front row seat to watch all of it.
I will tell you that I showed this to LT the other day how young Nick Saban looked when he came. There's a story floating around that Chris Mortensen, the late Chris Mortensen, came to Tuscaloosa and did a walking around Bryant-Denny Stadium on the field before Nick Saban had ever had one spring practice and everything. And he laid out some very and we've tweeted it out, so go watch it. Laid out some very simple goals of just getting the team back to respectability and hopefully winning a championship for these great fans. That humble beginning from Nick Saban to what it turned into, just an amazing ride. And I mean, he said this when he accepted it from the Board of Trustees. Maybe the best years of his life, 17 of them, were spent in Tuscaloosa. It'll be a scene today. I really do believe that.
Well, it's such a different program from when Nick Saban took over. Obviously, had to rebuild that. We all remember the Louisiana Monroe loss in year one. But I don't think Saban could have handled the reversal of this. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, Kalen DeBoer's humility, for him to be able to go into this situation, and it still is all Saban. And I've got no problem with that. I mean, Saban has done things that we'll never see again in college football. But I think it does take a special coach to be able to guide a team that has a chance still to win a championship, and he's still in the shadow of Nick Saban. And what I'm saying, like if Nick Saban would have immediately followed Bear Bryant in his prime, I think that would have been difficult for Saban's personality.
Yeah, I agree, because everybody would have still been talking Bryant. And, LT, you know how it was. Brown, you know how it was around here. EG was just learning about, being a great lacrosse player and other things for so many years at Alabama. That was one of their problems. Every coach until you got to Nick Saban was still trying to be, like Coach Bryant. And then Nick Saban came in and said, let's stop talking about it. Let's go do it. And that was his opening statement. And he did. He put all the Bryant stuff behind him and did it his own way, changed the infrastructure of the program, changed the recruiting, how much money was given to the program, how much they required to run a program. It just changed everything and has been copied by a lot of people, including Georgia now in college football.
And let me bring up one thing on this game, EG, the significance going back to last year. I thought it was mentally one of the best jobs Nick Saban has ever done. And there were so many moments throughout 17 years where he was able to do things like this. But it was one of the grossest games we saw last year in Tampa, where the lacrosse standout, Tyler Buckner, got the start. And it was it was a message to the fan base, and it was a message to Jalen Milroe. And Jalen Milroe last week against Western Kentucky, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. No player in Alabama history has ever done that before. Milroe's done it 3 times now. And I think the fire that lit under Milroe led him to become what is now, I believe, an elite quarterback.
Yeah, I think you can circle that game and say that exact thing because we've talked about it a ton in these last couple of weeks. This is now a program that has a confident quarterback. This time a year ago, it was a lot of uncertainty at that position. Now you have Jalen that's leading this team. Obviously, there's a slight Heisman nod going on right now, but it's really interesting to look back on that game and see where the program is now and see where Milroe is as a player, as a leader, and so many things. Now, I do think that USF, they have some confidence coming into this game because they saw last season. Yeah. Now, will that translate in Tuscaloosa? I don't know. It is a tougher matchup, I would say, than last week against Western Kentucky. So I wouldn't, cruise past this game by any means. You don't want to cruise past any game in college football because you never know what can happen when you're looking ahead to Wisconsin. But there is a slight lean of, hey, USF's got some confidence. Look what they did last season.
Yeah, listen, Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, Parker Brailsford, Keon Sabb, Jeremy Bernard, I think Justice Haynes and Jam Miller. What do all those people have in common? They didn't play against USF last week, and they may be the best players on the field as they get going today against USF. This Alabama team, with whatever has happened in the transition here, some really talented people, whether through recruiting, the portal, or just not being benched. Alabama has more talent on the field today than they did last year in Tampa.
All right, EG will be there in Tuscaloosa. Follow her on social media and at NextRound Live for all the coverage of the naming of Saban Field. And then also, EG, afterwards, you're jumping on with Cover Crimson, Stacy and Clint and Mick and the entire gang there?
Yeah, so come hang out with us. That'll be postgame. I'll be in the stadium with Clint. We'll do postgame with players, DeBoer, and tell you guys everything that we learned.
Yep. All right. Have fun, EG.
All right. Bye.
All right. See ya. Emily Grace McWhorter on her way to Tuscaloosa today for Alabama and South Florida. The Crimson Tide at 31-point favorite in that one. A few more games to go before we get out of here. And don't forget that at covercrimson.com and also thebarnauburn.com for postgame on both of those. Join for as low as $1 a month on both those sites and enjoy great coverage of both teams. JohnstonRVCenter.com brings you this show. Johnston RV Center still has great savings right now on fifth wheels and travel trailers, starting as low as $149 a month, as low as $379 a month on the fifth wheels. JohnstonRVCenter.com. Don't forget RV warranty forever. Make sure you have that lifetime warranty on everything that is new and qualifying pre-owned. You can see more at JohnstonRVCenter.com. And Champy's world famous fried chicken, Dunaway. Great place for tailgate today.
Did LT just go bewitch and disappear?
He did.
Well, I will tell you this. So Charter sucks. They do. They do. So every time
wait. This is not an endorsement, right?
This is not. No, he's not telling you to buy Charter, right? Okay.
Well, so I used to talk about DirecTV and how bad they suck because they had a monopoly on Sunday Ticket. Charter's got a monopoly on my neighborhood. I can't get another provider. Like literally. Like I have tried. I've had AT&T and they're like, we can't come in. So anyway, my point is too many devices running. It just rolls off. Charter is more fixated on sending me a pop-up that I want a $100 gift card. And I told them to go fuck themselves. I did. Charter sucks. Last night, I don't know if you guys had this with Peacock. I put Peacock on one of my smart TVs. I go downstairs. I've got to reload Peacock and put everything back in to get Peacock going. DirecTV, I will give them credit. When you had DirecTV, you could go to any of your DirecTVs and it's the same thing. This app stuff is a pain in the ass.
It is. You got to plan ahead. I had Peacock. I had to reload Peacock on the TV. I was going to be watching last night too. For some reason, Peacock, I don't know how it works, but it did not. My icon, my HBO Max and all of them, I guess I use them more, so they stay on. I had to reload the Peacock and remember my password that I pay for, but only watch like once a month for the game last night. But I started at about 5:30, so I knew I had it. You can't do it right at game time. And I'll tell you, I was in the same situation, LT. I was locked in a neighborhood that did not have AT&T fiber. And when I moved, it was the first thing I did is I got rid of all my DirecTV stuff and went with YouTube TV because I was AT&T fiber. And knock on wood, it has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, I know Robert's saying, hey, we've got to get you on YouTube. I'm on YouTube, but YouTube TV has nothing to do with Peacock.
Yeah.
And I was up and ready to roll on Peacock an hour before the game. But the problem, again, when I relocated after a nice steak dinner from our friends at New York Butcher, I went downstairs.
Endorsement.
Yeah. And I had to, rare quality, well done service. I had to put another TV up, and I had to go through the whole process again. And in that process, I missed 2 touchdowns.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it was back and forth. I mean, we had a track meet early in Brazil.
Yep.
All right. Another game you've got there at lanceslock.com. Lance is Appalachian State at Clemson. Interesting to see how the Tigers bounce back. 17-point favorites this morning at MyBookie.ag. Total of 52.5. Boy, people want to see Clemson bounce back and look like the best team in the ACC. Appalachian State's a tricky little opponent for them.
Well, I don't think Appalachian State, I think I threw this number out, weeks ago, months ago. They are the most winning, the winningest program that is yet to be in the college football playoff, if you're just talking about straight up wins over the last decade. So I don't think they're going to sneak up on anyone. I mean, the Mountaineers, well-known brand. Most people believe this could be the best game Clemson could play this year based on the fact they got so embarrassed last week. Everyone is talking about Dabo has lost the fastball. Clemson's completely out of this. I go back to Oregon, Dan Lanning's first game ever, Bo Nix's first start for Oregon against Georgia in Atlanta. They got dusted, and they went on and went 110 games. So I still think, Clemson didn't look good offensively. They've still got a heartbeat. I mean, they still control their own destiny.
They do. They do. It's the quarterback's just got to be better. He makes so many mistakes. And I now, since Roman Harper has said it, I think Tom Luganville said it on Monday Morning Live, 7 a.m. every Monday on our platform, that he's just late. He's late with his throws. He sees the open receiver and then throws it. And the great quarterbacks throw before they see because they know he's going to come open. He's just a beat late on everything. And that continues to get you in trouble against really quality opponents. I do think we probably have piled on Clemson more than we should have because they were playing the Georgia Bulldogs, and Georgia can make you look that bad. So it'll be interesting to see if Clemson looks more smooth, more automatic today against an opponent that is not the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, it's well documented that Dabo hasn't bought into transfers and hasn't bought into the NIL. But if I'm a Clemson fan, I'm just like, what in the hell is going on? Like, this is Clemson. I know Georgia's going to beat the dog shit out of a lot of teams, but we're Clemson. We used to beat the dog shit out of a lot of teams. We used to win championships. That was a gauge game last weekend, and they were outclassed.
Yeah. Hey, while we were doing the endorsement for Charter, I forgot to tell you about Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. You can go by and get the great tailgate food from Sterling and the crew for the games today. But if you're not going to the games, this is when I really love Champy's Chicken. You just swing by there and you get a to-go. You call ahead or you go online and you place your order, and you just don't even have to get out of the truck or the car. You just go through the pickup window, boom, you're back home. You're watching the games. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go say hi to Sterling.
All right, everybody load up Peacock early because Oregon is playing host to Boise State. Another game you got at lanceslock.com, Lance. Oregon, a big favorite in this one, 19 points, total of 61.5 on Peacock, 9 o'clock.
I've got a 10-star on this. Absolutely love this game. I'll just go on. Anybody watching, I'm going to give it to you. I like the Oregon Ducks. To me, this is Colorado in Eugene all over again. I don't think you can get enough on Oregon. Their team total over that point. Oregon minus the 19.5. I think, and this is one of the reasons I did have a problem giving my money to Peacock last night, because I got suckered in. I've got to watch this game. It will be on a main screen until USC kicks it off at 10 o'clock tonight against Utah State. But I just think Oregon's offense is going to absolutely pop. I watched last week Boise State against Georgia Southern. Their defense was awful. It was absolutely awful. They were down 37-36 in the fourth quarter. Genty is an incredible back, was an incredible back last year. Ollie Gordon and Ashton Genty, probably the two best running backs in all of college football. But Dan Lanning, he's got a plan in place. It will be all about stopping him and make what I believe is a below-average quarterback beat you. I think Oregon names their score offensively. I think this is an ass whipping. Or we'll call it a dick whipping. How about that?
Yeah. Hey, either way, whatever body part you want to go with, this Oregon team, they love these moments. they've never in program history beating Boise State. It's one of the odd series records of all time. I think Boise leads the series 3-0. So it's finally time for Oregon to get a win. They've never beaten Boise State.
And this is kind of fascinating. So the last time Boise was this big of a dog, you guys want to take a guess at the year?
Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl?
No, it wasn't that big. Was it?
No.
It wasn't.
They were a 27-point dog in 1999. I think it was their first year that they broke in to the FBS against UCLA. And they were catching 27. I just think it's fascinating that we're talking about Boise State. They are your favorite to be the Group 5 representative out of the Mountain West to be in the college football playoff. And they're catching the most points they've caught since 1999.
It says a lot about the Group 5's chances of the playoffs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Two more. Dunaway, Mississippi State at Arizona State tonight. The Soon Devils are a 5.5-point favorite in this game. Total of 59. Late night, 9:30 ESPN. Blake Shapen, I keep saying it. I know it was Eastern Kentucky. He looked pretty good in week 1 for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that number's dropping because they know Hell State's coming to town, LT. What do you tell me? What do you tell me about that number dropping?
Well, dropping probably does. And this is a game I stayed away from. I liked Arizona State all week. I wanted to pull the trigger on it. I told you guys last week I had Wyoming, maybe the worst play that I gave out last week. They got run off the field, from the jump. I was really impressed with Arizona State, like just how they swarmed defensively, how athletic that team was. I think Dillingham, and maybe I said this yesterday, I don't know if I said it on our show or not, but I think they're like a 7 or 8 win team. Probably they need tonight's win, but I think they're going to beat a team in the Big 12 that they shouldn't beat this year. I think they're going to be much better than they were last year.
Morgan said he had to rewind. Oregon's never beaten Boise State. Wow, he said that. I was unaware of that too, Jim.
Yeah, I think I'm correct about that. Pretty sure 3-0.
Well, I know that home and home. We always remember the LeGarrette Blount and Byron Hout incident on that Thursday night. But I know Boise won that home and home with Chris Peterson. I don't know about any other games though.
All right, one last game, Lance. You got to play on this one at Lance's Lock as well. USC is a huge favorite tonight over Utah State. It's the late night Big Ten after 10. I know we used to have Pac-12 after dark. I'm going to try to get everybody on board. Big Ten after 10. 10 o'clock tonight. USC, a 28.5-point favorite, total of 63.5 in this one.
Yeah, I played the total, so I'll kind of give you a side here. Like, I lean Utah State that such a big win for USC in this program, getting over that SEC hump. And now, it goes from the win total was 7.5, and people are like, USC can, 7, 8 wins and first year in the Big Ten. Now people are saying USC could be a playoff team. I know Dunaway said that before they even took the field last Sunday in Las Vegas. I look for kind of a down spot here, but at the same time, I can't get a gauge sometimes on Lincoln Riley. Like, if Lincoln Riley wants to go out and name his score, there are so many receivers that aren't getting reps right now. This is a deep group of receivers for USC. And if you want to go out and, if they want to put a 50 spot up in the first half, it wouldn't shock me. But I just, if I had to play this game on the side, I would play the Aggies plus points.
You play the Aggies plus the points. How many
if
points
I had
is
to
it
play
again?
this side, yeah.
Yeah. You get a little come down in a game like this, right? It'll be at the Coliseum. You're so hyped up. You beat the SEC team. That's not a bad play. So impressed with what USC did. They're a playoff team for me. I said that before the season starts. But this, you get so hyped. You played in Vegas. You played LSU. Everyone was watching you on a Sunday night. This is one of those you don't do your best game. 2008 in Eugene, 37-32 Boise. In Boise, 19-8 Boise. In Las Vegas, 38-28 in 2017. That went to Boise as well, 3-0 all time against Oregon.
I'm not going to guarantee, like the Florida State fan, that I'm going to consume a cup of whatever. But I would be willing to do something nuts if Boise wins this game. This would be an awful loss for Dan Lanning. Awful.
How about you just gave it, though, but Lunsford in research, it was Harsin. That had to be Harson's biggest win, right? Boise beating Oregon. Biggest win of his career.
Harson's laughing. Do you think Harson's on a beach? Do you think he's on a yacht? Do you
I'd
think
be
he's
in Cabo.
Golf?
Yeah. He went to Cabo when he was the actual coach.
Yeah, I would be somewhere nice with a huge TV setup,
Yep.
Maybe the ocean sound in the background. and people feeding me peeled shrimp and wonderful dips all day long.
Don't forget post-game coverage, covercrimson.com for you Alabama fans after the Tide in South Florida finish up.
Can I join Mick too? Will Mick let me join?
Of course he will. I think just text Mick. I'm sure he'd love for you to jump on.
Mick will not give me his cell number. I've DM'd him twice. I can't get his cell.
He told me whatever you do not give Dunaway.
Well, I'm serious. I tried to help out last week.
No, I'm being serious too. He told me whatever you do, don't give Dunaway my number.
Check me out then at thebarnauburn.com.
That's right, thebarnauburn.com. Dunaway perhaps on post game there. All right, Johnston RV Center brings you the show. JohnstonRVCenter.com, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Enjoy fall in America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. Now is the time to go and enjoy great prices and a warranty, RV warranty forever. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
I just want to remind everybody, 15 plays today. I've done it in the NFL a million times. I have never had a perfect day in college football.
15-0 today, you feel it?
I mean, look, crazier things have happened, right?
Yeah. Champy, crazier things have happened. 15-0 would be a heck of a day. Champyschicken.com, Dunaway. You can burn into the eternal flame.
Well, I've got Dunaway after dark. I've got 5 plays. I've never gone perfect on a football Saturday either. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com. Go check that out. Donovan Edwards over on the rushing yards, and a game we didn't talk about, Texas Tech, Washington State over the 66. In that game as well.
I got side and total in that game. So
side and total. Okay.
Well, that'll be part of the 15-0.
Yeah.
9 o'clock
in my translation of Lance's language there, if I said over, he threw his play out there. So that means he likes the under. I'm just guessing. I'm just playing there.
15-0 today, fellas. Lance'sLog.com. Jump on board. Win with us, coming off a winning night last night. SMU let us down. We were 3-0 last Friday. We were 2-1 last night. We set the table for a big weekend. Jump on board and win with us.
All right. Please give us a thumbs up. Make sure you've subscribed at Next Round Live, and also go subscribe at The Barn Auburn and CoverCrimson.com. TheBarnAuburn.com, CoverCrimson.com. Post-game reaction at both of those sites. Enjoy your college football Saturday. We will see you Monday morning at 7 o'clock with Dunaway and Luganville on Monday Morning Live. Thanks for joining us on the Johnston RV College Football Preview presented by Champy's Chicken.